Hey, welcome back. We are just in the minutes following PlayStation meeting here at PlayStation Theater in Times Square, New York. I am joined by Aaron, GM at BioWare. Very exciting stuff. You guys are here showing off Mass Effect Andromeda, one we have not seen a lot of yet.
No, it's been, we haven't shown much actually. We've had a couple of E3s where we've shown trailers, but we haven't gotten into gameplay too much. But we had this chance to come here and show off just the first starts of gameplay, some of that exploration, some of those cutscenes, the quality of the characters. And so we took it, and thanks to Sony for having us, it was great to show this.
I was happy to watch it. Believe me, I think my eyes were even happier. Now, I want to talk a little bit about some of the PS4 Pro details that were talked about today and how you guys are going to fit into all that. So I've heard through the grapevine that you guys are very passionate, particularly about HDR. This is a big point for you guys. And I'm hearing this again and again. I heard it from Christian at Naughty Dog. I mean, obviously everyone's stoked about high-res TVs and 4K TVs and all this, but that stuff's great. But HDR is also really cool. So tell me a little bit about why you guys are so pumped.
Oh, I think the big reason for us being excited about HDR is when you make a science fiction world like Mass Effect, so much of it has the opportunity for color and for vibrancy and for all those things. Aliens can be bright and colorful. Places you go just look amazing. And HDR, even to my surprise, when I first started to really understand it better, really just brings all that stuff out so much better than I thought it would. I was really amazed when I first saw the difference between standard definition and HDR. It's funny, right? Because you have these TVs and you don't even know there's a difference. There's a possibility for this thing called HDR. And so you spend your time thinking, oh yeah, I've got this thing, it's great. And then once you see HDR, you go, oh wow. And a science fiction intellectual property like Mass Effect, a game like Mass Effect, just really makes HDR sing because of everything you can do with it.
You made a great point there. I mean, this stream is not in HDR. If you're watching this right now, you are not seeing HDR.
That's right, yeah.
You're not going to see HDR unless you come here physically to this event and see it on these TVs.
Yeah, for sure. So you do need the TV to do it. And so I just hope people give it a chance and go into their electronics shop and do that. Go to a friend's house who's got it, turn it on, and really let yourself just be just immersed in this HDR experience because it's amazing.
Yeah, it's super eye-catching. I'm super distracted staring at all this footage. But I mean, HDR, it is bleeding edge. It's brand new. Yep. It's in basically this year's crop of TVs, and it's just going to, the standard's going to continue to coalesce, and we're going to continue to see more and more content around it.
Yeah, I'm confident it'll do whatever other consumer electronics thing does, which is it becomes the standard, and then cost comes down, and then pretty soon it's just everywhere.
That's right. That's great. So I can't let you off the hook. I got to ask you about what we're seeing here in terms of gameplay, though.
Sure, yeah.
This is the first time I've seen gameplay of Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah.
So we see some gameplay footage here. Can you give me the elevator pitch on kind of where Mass Effect Andromeda kind of picks up where the rest of the series left off?
Sure. So Andromeda opens with you traveling to the Andromeda Galaxy, hence the name. And you and a lot of other humans have fled the Milky Way Galaxy to start a new home for humanity. And you've brought along other races have pitched in too, so you see your Asari, you see Krogan, you see those things, so all of them come along too. And then when you arrive, the story begins as you arrive, and now it's your job as the Pathfinder, in this case we saw our male Pathfinder Ryder, begin to start the process of building a new home for humanity. You've got to do exploration, you've got to take on quests, you've got to, of course it wouldn't be a Mass Effect game if there wasn't some sort of galactic level mystery you understand about when you arrive there. So you've got to figure that out. You've got to then work your way through that, and that forms the critical path of the storyline. What is this mystery? What are we going to do here in Andromeda? Will we ultimately succeed in starting a new home, or will we fail? And so that's the whole bones of the story.
It's really cool, and it seems like it's kind of a clean break from what we saw with the other Mass Effect trilogy.
Yeah, it's funny, when you look at all the hardware we have access to and everything, it just gave us a chance to tell a different story. A lot of the same things you know and love about Mass Effect are in there. N7 is there. You've got the same alien races you brought from the Milky Way species, so there's a lot of familiarity there, but it let us, by having that change to the Andromeda Galaxy, it let us go back and change some things that we really had been passionate about changing for some time, and bring in new things. Jump is something that's new.
Really interesting,
yeah. And when you see that little flare on his back in HDR, it looks amazing. It just pops like that.
It's great. You also brought in what appears to be some lush alien flowers and plant life, which is really cool.
Yeah, we want to show people, give people a real sense of what it must be like to go to a new galaxy.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be new for you there, and so really the only familiar things are the things that humanity brought with them on these arcs, these giant ships that come in. So the story has a nice dichotomy between the familiar, which is what you brought, and then everything else is alien. And one of the things we talked about in Mass Effect in the early days was creating that sense of you are the alien, this
Yeah.
idea that you have arrived somewhere, now you're the alien. And what must that be like? That's not something we're not as familiar with in our day-to-day lives, perhaps, certainly not at this scale. So what can we do, storytelling opportunities do we have to present that for people? So I hope it's going to really open people's eyes to what it must be like in those situations.
So let's talk a little bit more about PS4 Pro.
Sure.
And in terms of how the BioWare team is kind of taking advantage of this. So what's the broad philosophy there? Like, how do you guys kind of break this down?
Well, so we like anything with more horsepower in it.
Sure.
It's really nice to be in this industry where you can reliably count on new hardware at a certain cadence. But I give credit to Sony for coming out with this stuff on a slightly faster cadence than we might have expected, because I think it just gives us a lot of opportunity and gives a lot of developers great opportunity too. We look at exactly what Mark Cerny spoke about it today. We look at the resolution, which allows things to be sharper, cleaner, more detail in them, and then we look at HDR, which is just all that visual power to pop on the screen and just really make everything more intense, everything more real. And so for those two reasons, those two axes just make for an amazing experience in Mass Effect. I think, again, science fiction is just made for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
it really pushes our developers. It really makes them scratch their heads to think about what they can do and how far they can go. And it's a great time.
And meanwhile, I mean, the game is going to be available as all PS4 games on both standard PS4.
That's right, yeah.
I'm sure it's going to look great there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's good. We designed it originally for PS4. We had no idea about PS4 Pro when we kicked off this and did a lot of our production work. So, yeah, it's going to be an amazing experience on PS4. And if you choose to get PS4 Pro, so much the better. And if you have the hardware to support the HDR, the hardware to support 4K, you'll just get that much better an experience. But I really love that Sony's very committed to keeping the community intact.
Yeah.
I think that's just a really smart move, and credit to them. That really makes me happy as a game developer to know that when we make a game and release it for people, they're going to have a community players right there. They'll be in touch with, and that makes me feel really good.
I was happy to hear too a lot of the discussion around HD TV support and some of the things that are being done there. Like, there's still a reason if you have an HD TV, you don't have to run out and buy a 4K TV to get a lot out of PlayStation 4 Pro.
Absolutely. I think PS4 Pro is going to offer developers a lot of chances to just tweak things, make them just a little better. Everybody wants more. Every developer wants more graphical and computational horsepower in these things. So you can do really smart things there, and it just makes it that much better.
That's great. So what's next for you guys here with Mass Effect Andromeda? Like, do you have some big plans coming up? Is this is the first peak of, I assume, we're going to be seeing more here to come?
Oh, I hope so, yeah. So, we're very lucky that we have a very passionate community of fans. And we've had this November 7th day, N7 day, that we've had for them for a long time now. I think this is our 5th year we've done it. And so we're really hoping everyone to come back on N7 day, and we'll talk more about Mass Effect Andromeda then.
Fascinating. I'll have to mark my calendars here. So, hey, I really appreciate you coming by, showing off Mass Effect Andromeda. We're going to have a lot more coming up tonight, so stay with us.
PlayStation